I'm David Hilscher. No, I'm not the Taylors. I'm David Hilscher. I'm your host for tonight, and it's going to be great. This is Taylor Talks. We're going to be doing this more regularly, and we got so many great things to talk about. And so, stay tuned. And I pushed the wrong button. That was supposed to be at the end. I've ruined it all now. No, I haven't. No. But here's our stinger for today. Let's try this again. Well, there she is, Angela Taylor. I just ran all your stingers at once. So, what can you
Wait,
say? So, hello, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Okay, good. Yeah. And we've got actually a day of dance coming up. I mean, that's the big thing this Saturday, right? I'm going to put our information banner out there on the bottom. This Saturday, day of dance, April 10th, 1:30 p.m. at Taylor Dance. Won't we get that information out there before we start our show? So,
All right. So this Saturday we are having, as David said we're having a day of dance. And it starts at 1:30, and we're holding 4 different classes with 4 different teachers. We're starting with stretch and cross training for performers, and then ballet, contemporary, and Broadway styles. So we're going to have a really great day full of lots of dance and celebrating fun. Doesn't really matter what level. We just want people to come and enjoy themselves and get to enjoy some of the classes, get familiar with some of our staff, ask some questions too, right? And I've been also making merch, so people can buy
oh,
some merch.
yeah, I've got a Christmas T-shirt from the show, which we're going to
Oh,
watch tonight. On the show tonight, we got the video finally of the
oh,
amazing show, and of course,
exciting!
if you don't believe it's a real studio, just look behind her,
Oh yes,
and you can see the students
you can
who
actually
are.
see them. I think they're
Yes,
right there dancing.
yes,
To the
they are.
veil.
They are. I
That's
think
so
my
right.
daughter is in there somewhere. So
She is. She is.
yeah.
And they're
So
working a little cabaret today.
oh
Well,
wow.
they're
So
very excited.
tell us a little bit about just about the studio, what you do normally. I mean, you got a studio behind you.
Yeah.
Tell us the days you are open and what are you doing. I mean, just today. We'll talk about the bigger things now, but just the facts of Taylor Studio and there are
What we're
students
doing.
there. What's going? Yeah, tell us.
Okay, so we are open pretty much every day of the week except Sunday at this moment. And we run a full schedule of classes at night, and we're adding actually some adult classes coming up, and we're starting a children's program as well. So one of the things we're trying to do is build that up a little bit. But you can come in, you can take any classes. We also do vocal classes and acting as well. Oh, and actually another thing too, which I think we're going to touch on, but we're going to have a different day to discuss fully. But we also do a lot of collegiate work. So,
Oh
students that
yeah,
are trying,
folks,
yeah,
and it's not going to be on this program. You're going to have
yeah,
to tune in again. Isn't that the way we do marketing, anyways? Right?
exactly.
But
Keep coming
no,
back for
I
more.
absolutely. So basically, why don't you give me an idea? List some of the classes that you teach. I mean, my daughter only takes. It's really great because you can pay one price and eat all you can eat dance classes, and there are several students, including my daughter, who takes them all. And I'll tell you. I am so amazed. My daughter's had she loves the dance, but when I saw a video that you put out of her, I couldn't believe it. It's like how she has learned in such a short time. So what are some of the classes, the names of the classes that you have that students take?
Well, just to touch on Lawanda a little bit, actually,
I
is
didn't pay
that
for this, no.
no, not at all. Is that you brought up a good point, which is, how is she learning so much so quickly? And I do believe it's because of our approach here. One of the things that we do is I've really tried to build this as a collaborative team. And it's a comprehensive program. You're not just getting one thing, you're getting a lot of different things. I've even chosen teachers at different ages because I believe that they bring life experience that you can't really, unless you're kind of in that time frame of your life. So it's that mixed in with the fact that we really do have class like all year round. So there's no real downtime for focusing on choreography for, let's say, recitals, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's just a different approach. And for us, because of kind of where we're gearing towards and the student that we're gearing towards, it's why we're doing it this way. It's so that they have study all year long. And because of that, it does get the process moving because you're continually training. You're not really stopping, So some of the classes that we do, we work on technical classes. So we have ballet one, which would be our beginners. So you have your beginner, intermediate, let's say, and advanced ballet. We study, we work on the ABT syllabus. So our teacher is actually getting finally certified for all her levels this summer, which is really exciting. And we do classical jazz. We also, I'm like looking at my board over here. Classical jazz, I can't remember. We do tap. We also do stretch and strengthening and conditioning or cross-training classes. Some people have taken the class and have said it's a lot like progressive ballet, if anyone watching has ever taken that before. It's a kind of a variation of that, but it's not your typical stretch class. It's something that I built over the last 16 years. And it started really because I wanted to help injured dancers recover. So it's a really, really wonderful program, and you can kind of do it at any level. So you could do it
if I had time. Yeah, no, I took some tap. I wanted to try it out. Unfortunately, it's my busiest wife, but I had a lot of fun in it, and they are really. I mean, you learn really quickly. And just to show, I thought it would be nice. You did take a video of the girls with my daughter here, and I thought I'd show you a video, which is an approved an Angela video because I know all these people who are in charge of things like Tia Napes and yourself. The videos have to be really good, so before you put them out there. So why don't we take a look at a video from a class that you took just recently with my daughter in it, and I showed my wife, and our mouths were like open, like, where did that come from? We knew she could dance, but the last time we saw her, she was doing tap dance in the 5th grade and pushing people off the side because they couldn't remember the choreography, and she could. But then I saw this, I thought, are you kidding? So let's take a look at this and share a screen here. I'll share the audio. Hopefully this will all work out. You'll be able to see it, and we can see it at the same time here. And let's take a look at this, about 50 seconds of a piece that you can hear, and you'll hear a scream at the end that sounds like the Alien movie, and it's just really what that is that's Angela, who gives people energy just through that voice of hers. So here we go. Let's take a look at this. And there, and there's that scream there at the end there, but anyways, it was pretty amazing to see that. Oops, I'm getting a feedback because I have to turn that off. Let me turn that off. Add to stream. Oh boy, stop that. Okay, I'm going to turn this off here. I'm getting feedback weird. I'm hearing it. Okay, can you say something, Angela?
Hello.
Okay. Yeah, for some reason we're getting this alien sound going on here, but hopefully that will stop. Anyways, that was a class, I guess an advanced dance class, yes? And there's all levels there.
Sorry. Yeah, actually that's our Broadway Styles class. And so one of the things that we do here at the school is you have your technical classes where we do a lot of technique, and then you have your other classes like Broadway Styles, where all they do is work on repertoire work or new choreography, so that they can apply what they're using or what they're learning in class with their technique to movement. And so that's what you're watching. And what's really amazing about that video is that they learned that all within class. So
Right.
that's not like expected. It wasn't like they worked on it for days.
Oops, we have lost her, but that happens now and then, folks. So this is the internet age. But what you saw there was a class that we just saw with my daughter in it, but an advanced class, and they learned it in class. And you could, in the level of all the dancers, and there are quite a few different levels. I think anywhere from freshmen all the way to seniors in that class, and they learned that in a small amount of time. And we've got the people popping back. I see Michael. If you've just tuned in, we are Taylor Talks, and we are talking with Angela Taylor, and we're going to be talking with Michael Taylor, and we're going to be showing some clips. So if you people who went and saw the Christmas show by Taylor Made Studios, you're going to want to stick around, because we're going to show some clips from the show and talk about what it was like to put this show together. And it was actually an original show, and we have the writer with us. I know Angela seems to be trying to come back, but I'm going to go to that next section, and we're going to talk a little bit today with our next guest. And he's the other half of Taylor. I'm not even sure who's the Taylor name. I don't know if it was Esmeralda-Taylor. Now, I'm guessing if that's the case, I'm going to bring you up. I don't know. I'm guessing if you're Michael Taylor and she put Miranda in front, or I think it is, then that's usually the woman's prerogative or something like that. Is that true?
Well, she actually hasn't legally changed her name. We've only been married almost 15 years, and she's obviously just keeping her options open, so...
Options open. So anyways, pleased to meet you, Michael. Why don't you tell us a little bit about you were involved with the Christmas show, and one of the things Taylor Studios does is to put on some shows. Now, of course, you guys were absolutely nuts and opened your studio exactly when COVID started. It wasn't before. It was like we bought our house just before COVID, so we barely made it. No, you guys opened your studio right when COVID hit. And then you had to, what are you going to do for shows? And I guess Angela knew some people from Brandstar, correct? And a studio in Pompano. And then she said, hey, we want to do a Christmas show, but we need someone to make one. And how did you get involved with the Christmas show? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, as you said, we opened up. We actually got the keys to the studio 2 days before lockdown last year. So it was certainly an interesting adjustment. And we got through the summer with the intensives. And one of the things we've always been quite keen on is not having recitals like a lot of dance studios do. But we still want some sort of showcase for what the kids are learning and to make sure parents understand where the money's going. And by the time we got to Christmas, we realized this is a great opportunity to actually do something where we can give the kid, you know what theater kids are like. They need to run every now and again. And these kids were climbing the walls. And we thought this is a good opportunity to let them get it out of their system and for us to show everybody what we've actually been working on through the last year. And then just to make life more difficult, we had the stupid idea of making a completely original show.
Okay, it's an original show, but someone's got to write it. So Angela wrote it, right? No. What happened? Tell us that story. How did you get roped into that?
Well, and bear in mind this conversation's happening, I think, late October.
Holy cow. But wait, the show was in December.
We had a meeting, I think it was like October-ish, like, hey, let's put a Christmas show on. And then we started brainstorming ideas about some of the numbers that we wanted to do and things like that. And a few years ago, I was involved in a production at the Delray Playhouse called Victory Dolls, which was it it was more of a musical review than a show. It was a lot of period, like 1940s era songs. And they wanted somebody to knit them together with some sort of dialogue, and just so it wasn't just a lot of individual performances. And that's where that was sort of my first stage writing experience. So we had a similar idea with the Christmas show, where instead of just having number, we'd actually have some sort of storyline, some sort of thread and dialogue, and even a few sort of acting scenes in between, because our kids can act as well as dance and sing. So like we say, not wanting to make life easy for ourselves, decided to write it from scratch.
Well, that's a very brave thing to do, and so how did that process work? And you guys knew at that time that you're going to go brand star. Is that correct?
I actually can't remember when Brandstar came on the scene.
So you were writing this not even knowing you had a place.
No, originally, remember right, and I could have deliberately tried to erase this memory because it was quite difficult, but I think originally we were just going to have it at the studio on live stream.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the original idea, and then somebody brought up the Brandstar idea, and it kind of snowballed from there. I could be wrong. I'm sure Angela will correct me if I am, but I think.
Okay, so tell me, as a writer, because I saw the show was quite good. We're going to look at some scenes. I got them sort of lined up here, some scenes that we can take a look at. But before we do that, I mean, how do you go about that? I mean, were you working closely? Obviously, you just don't write what you want and then just then hand it to Angela and says, "Good luck, choreograph, pick songs or whatever." How did you go about that?
The first thing we did was pick a list of songs. And then the original concept was to divide it into 2 acts, with the first act being themed around the traditional English Christmas, and then moving into the second act into the more American contemporary kind of music. So that was the loose framework, and then I knit it together with some dialogue and a kind of storyline, and it sort of went from there.
So did you get the numbers from Angela? Who was picking the music?
We had quite a few people involved in suggestions, and I think Angela made the final call on them all. We had a group of people give an idea. We had way more numbers than what we ended up with because we realized that we were definitely biting off more than we could chew, so we had to edit quite severely to whittle it down to what we ended up with.
Oh, okay. So I just want to get note that my daughter's sending me notes. It says, "Miss Angela's phone imploded on itself." I guess that's why I'm helping out. I'm the tech guy at the place. So, but anyways, so what you're saying is, unlike every other production ever in history, you had more than you really could put in a show. Is that correct?
Yeah, David, I'm sorry. I'm getting loads of texts here from girls at the studio. They want the link now because Angela can't pull the link up.
Oh, yeah. Just go to live.dhilster. I'll give it to my daughter. Yeah, I got it. I'll get it. So why don't you tell me a little bit about where you got your concept, how you put that thread together sort of as a writer. And as you do that, I'll take care of this other problem. But, give the audience an idea of, I mean, you wrote a show. What's that like?
I always use a quote from a writer, one of my favorite writers. I don't know if you know who Hunter S. Thompson is. He was a journalist, and he has a thoroughly inappropriate quote, but it's very apt in its own way, where he says, "Writing is like sex; it's only fun for amateurs."
I get it.
I relate to that because it sounds like a way better idea until you actually sit down and get going on it. And so we had the concept, we had the rough idea of dividing it into 2 acts with the English versus the American. We chose the numbers, we chose an order. And then I came up with the idea of, we knew that we wanted to start with Sam Barnes and her Sugar Plum Fairy number. And I came up with the idea then of having her as sort of a narrator. So she is the one who drifts in and out of the first act, sort of linking the songs together with a little bit of intro, some commentary, and then it kind of evolved from there.
Right, right. And so I think what we can do, I think Angela's going to be on her way. My daughter is getting her up, I think, on another phone, so we'll be back here. But why don't we take a look at the intro here, what you're talking about. So there's a thread through the whole thing, which was the ballerina, basically. Was she through the entire show, or was it just the first act, or what?
She's the first act, and then at the interval, she hands it over to her cousin Olaf the elf, and he was Connor, who takes her place, because we worked poor Sam to death, because not only was she the sort of sugar plum fairy with dialogue, but also she was in most of the numbers too. So the poor girl was fit.
Well, what has never stopped Taylor, you or your wife, from overusing people, because they are very talented. Actually, most of them are triple threats. So you've got quite a bevy of people to choose from, students who are just absolutely amazing. Okay, so let's take. Go ahead. Say that again. We cut up.
Sure that every student got an opportunity to show what they had, and we have some extremely capable students with lots of experience, but we also had some kids who'd been with us since the summer, and we wanted to make sure that everybody got an opportunity. So we had people like Sam, who has her own solos. We had some of our more experienced dancers doing great numbers, but then we also had our young kids with a couple of things. We had the children, Alexander, my son, was in it. He's 7.
Right.
Had little Sienna, I think our youngest student, she had a few little bits to do. So we made sure that everybody got an opportunity. We made sure that everybody was in something, so it wasn't just all our fantastic dancers.
Oh yeah, that's something that it was very true. I got to see it in the audience. I was really not part of the production, which I usually am. So it was just fantastic. So let's take a look at the very first, because Angela's coming on here again, but we're going to take a look at the. Let's wait a minute. Hey, there you are, Angela. How are you?
I'm fine now.
Did your phone implode?
My phone imploded.
And then my daughter's sending me text messages, and I'm thinking she wants to be picked up. And I said, no, you don't want to be picked up because your mom's picking her up. I'm doing the live, blah, blah, blah. And she goes, no, Dave, you don't understand. I need to get Angela back on air. I said, well, I sent her the message. She says, you don't understand. That's her phone. I go, okay, I got it now.
Yeah. I'm on Sam's phone now.
Oh, okay. All right. So what we're going to take a look at right now is, I've been talking about Michael, how he, of course, had 3 years of time, $3 million to come up and write the story for this. It wasn't anything like in October, and not really even having a venue yet, and then doing it 2 months later, and then totally original show. It was quite amazing, in fact. So let's take a look at the very first scene. I've got a bunch of scenes lined up here, and we'll play it for a little bit. We're going to go through this show, and we'll talk a little bit about the show.
Cool.
It is going to the place, because I've got it. What it's doing, it's going. So we start in the right place.
Oh, look at that. And this young lady's gotten called back to loads of colleges.
She's a really good dancer, I tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, she is a dancer, but she has now become a triple threat thanks to your meddling, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
She's just fantastic. Obviously she's got dancer's her strength, but her acting and singing is phenomenal.
Oh, she's going to do wonders.
Hey, there.
Oh,
She's back. That's what happens on live.
if you think there's just how hard this is, variation.
Yeah. So when did you start rehearsals for the dance part of this?
I think it was like 4 days ago.
When?
I think it was 4 days before the show.
Oh, gee.
Yeah.
Well,
This past is the first part. We had it's so hard.
no, it is amazing the level of people.
But only
Just so beautiful. It's just absolutely so beautiful. Whoa! Wow, that sort of jumped out. Man, that was that. So that was the first. Now, Michael was saying that she's obviously a dancer, but she actually comes out and becomes the sort of MC or host or storyteller throughout the first part. So, Michael, as part of the story, what did you sort of inspire? Did you simply weave together the numbers that you had that Angela was working with, or what was your idea as a writer there?
Well, firstly, that scene, probably Sam is, if Sam's watching this, she's probably having like Vietnam style flashbacks, because right after she does those like 27 crazy turns, I hit her with a big chunk of dialogue.
yeah.
Oh
So
boy!
we had to buy her some time, so we had everybody making sure they clapped like crazy. The applause to poor girl could catch her breath. And essentially what her job was as the narrator was she gave some context. Some of the numbers got context, like a little bit of history, the tradition side of it all. And then there was things like we built into it a nativity scene. So we had the three wise men doing sort of a little pseudo comedy act. And then eventually we ended up with, as you remember, the 12 Days of Christmas, which finished. And that was just a completely original concept, which I don't know where the hell that came from, in all truth. But
Oh, that's really great. Actually, we're going to show that, but I'm going to take this in order because I got them sort of in order. But yeah, I've actually pulled out just the scene from one camera on the day 2, on the last part of the 12 Days of Christmas, where you obviously, it was a very humorous piece, and obviously you had a number of people I know in that group who are hams and improv stars, and it turned out I showed this. I got the video from the show just a couple days ago, and I isolated that because I know Luanda was had her hand literally in the improv part of it because she loves that part, and it was so funny. I said, Luanda, we got to put this on TikTok. It's just really hilarious. But I think that we're going to get to that. Well, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the Mayflower flower. What is that?
Maple. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. So want to go ahead and show that. Is that okay with you guys? Because I'm sort of doing it in order. Now this involved the children, right? So maybe one of you want to talk about how the children were involved in this production, because it seems, I guess, they all came together only a couple of days before the production, right? This wasn't like practice all together somewhere, right?
No, we really did. We did how many I don't even know how many rehearsals we had.
we did a 3-day boot camp, didn't we? Really, where we did like a Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday before the performance.
And in it here too, we had we basically to keep it safe, is we took COVID wise, we took all the dressing racks outside in the back and set up
I remember.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this reminded me of our Samba days when we were putting together a parade with 150 people and we were in an alley somewhere. It was amazing to see. And it just reminded me so much of those days. But it was an amazing production. We didn't even talk about the costumes, but let's take a look at this scene first, and let's come back because there's a whole side of costumes, which is also quite amazing. So let's take a look here. If I can get this right now, hopefully, and get this up here bigger, and it will go and look for it and should be at the scene where we have the maypole.
The holly bears the crown. rising of the sun and the running of
It's so cute. It's so beautiful.
the playing of the merry-o, sweet singing in the choir. The holly bears a blossom as white as lily flower, and Mary bore sweet Jesus Christ to be our sweet Savior. Oh, the rising of the sun and the running of the deer, the playing of the merry-o, sweet singing in the choir. The holly bears a prickle as sharp as any thorn, and Mary bore sweet Jesus Christ.
Those costumes are just ridiculously spectacular. My goodness.
And the running of the deer, the playing of the merry-o, sweet singing in the choir. The holly bears a berry as red as any blood.
So you put them in these amazing dresses, and oh, by the way, you're gonna have to step over a half hula hoop. What are you guys? Is this dance and art, or is this torture?
You choose.
Beautiful. I'm not hearing, you're sort of cutting out there, Angela.
Oh, I'm just saying they're learning a lot about history, etiquette, and numbers.
Yes, that's true.
Bitter as any gall, and Mary bore sweet Jesus Christ for to redeem us all.
God, it's crazy to watch all.
Yeah. It's like this is the first time you really saw it.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. The lighting. No, it's incredible for the time that put into it.
Well, I think we're really trying to do is prove to ourselves that the training is the most important part. Focus on that. Putting the show together is hard.
Yeah, because they're used to following the directions. They're used to working together. Yeah. And they're having a great time. They love dressing up in this.
Oh, yeah. Those drivers were so excited when they got them.
Yeah.
That I think was the best of it.
You're breaking up there, Michael. Just hold on. Okay, there we go. So go ahead and say that again, Michael. Let's try again. You're breaking up a little bit.
The things that I have to say that for all the joking and the stress and the craziness that it was, one of the things that was really, really gratifying, certainly for me, was seeing how excited the kids were to actually do it.
Yeah.
Like the kids threw themselves into it. They dealt with everything we threw at them, and they were just so excited to get out there and perform. It was totally worth it. It really was.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, I think it was, something that there's a whole nother part of this that people really don't realize. It's hard maybe to see that now, but this was October, November, December. I mean, COVID was ravaging the world, and the kids for how many months? Many of them haven't even been back to school that whole year. Yeah. Some of them have, and all these creative people. There's two things that was amazing, and I almost get choked up about it thinking about it, because my daughter is a musical theater actress. That's what she wants to do. Wherever she ends up in whatever capacity, that's what she does. That's what she lives and dies and breathes for. And two things. One, you had a studio open, and COVID, the COVID protocols, I know I made the video for it, were tremendous. And the kids were there, and it was a refuge. It was a refuge where, I know people, a lot of Lawanda's friends from middle school or other studios or other productions she's been in, they were not doing anything. They weren't doing anything. In fact, there was a person in this production from a university who was also looking to keep doing things, right? I mean,
Yeah.
so you had not only a refuge place for these kids and their community to keep going and not lose a beat. You then had a real performance, and you did it not only live in a studio with live people, all social distance. You also did it live on the internet. I mean, I think we're going to look back and just say that was crazy. But I don't think people understand the emotional need, the audience that I sat in. You could just the parents there were just so grateful. It was a, how do you say, it was like a energy that was, it was almost like coming together in times of crisis. It really, and then it was just so beautiful. It was something you're not going to see again. You're not going to feel it again. It'd probably be like after World War II or something like that. That's what it felt like.
Yeah, I think that it had a lot to do too with the time of year too.
Yeah.
You said and what was going on, but the I think what I take away from it is that it was, like Michael said, it was a lot, and our main goal the whole time was just the kids. Right? It's so easy to lose sight of stuff when you're knee deep in all of it and very worried about how it's going to turn out. And I think when I started to see the kids enjoying it, but then to see their parents just thrilled to just have a moment and just to feel free, I think, for a little while. That to me was really, really cool. And I have to say, even doing Jekyll and Hyde, and now I'm actually onto my third show right now, nothing felt like that.
Yeah, no, I mean, it wasn't, because the intensity at that time, we're in a time that's different now. Things are coming back, people are going to school more, but at that time it was just a refuge in the middle of a creative desert. And again, I don't think that feeling, we'll ever get that kind of thing again. It really was really that special. So I've got another one here. I believe it's called Walking in the Air.
Oh, that's Faith. Yeah.
Yes, and Faith. It was very fortuitous. We have a student both in your studio and at Boca High, whose dad just happens to have a television studio, and you told me about it, and I believed that it was nice, but I didn't know it was that nice. Yeah. I'll be honest, it is an incredible place. And so this is Faith, and she's going to be singing for us. So let's put that up here and get that going. Make sure I get the sound going, and this is called again Walking in the Air. Very beautiful. I put the volume a little down so we can talk over if need be.
The masks are so beautiful.
Yeah, this is going to be so funny to look at it again when we're 10 years from now.
I know, the little son, he's so cute.
Yeah, he is so cute. He's a cutie. He's just used to it. It's like my daughter. She grew up in a samba school. She dragged on the stage at 4 and 3, and okay, Dad, Mom, all right. Just beautiful too. I just think it's, the set was beautiful, the lighting, it was just quite tremendous.
Well, what's funny is right now is a mistake.
Well, don't tell anybody. No one knows. I would know.
Oh, well. I was outside off in the corner telling her, get out.
But it's funny because that's another thing. I know Luanda's been through real productions, and doing them night after night, you get used to, hey, you got to handle what comes up. Even if it's not the way it was, you just keep going. But it's so beautiful. Again, what they learned this in a couple of days. Now all these things in the costumes, did you have these around? Did you make some, or?
No. So all the costumes are actually donated to us from Hospital Girls. And she sponsored Maryland sponsored us for that, and all of the costumes. We were so lucky.
Oh, that's an understatement.
Yeah. It does help to have some family in place.
Yeah.
But she honestly didn't do that. It was she's going through problems right now. So
Yeah, I can imagine. The theaters are going through a hell of a time. It's not easy.
I did build the skirts though.
Yeah, and you did make the bow because I have that on film.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh, this is the bow. Hi. And this is beautiful. And actually, we're going to have this available for people who want to see it. I think it's going to be a minimal fee or something, and they can watch the show, right?
No.
We're going to have that. Who's okay? They had a close up on the kid. Your kid stealing the show. There it is. He's sending out Morse code, blinking in his eyes. Please save me.
Michael, you explain a little bit of the song.
Oh yeah.
Well, anybody who's English back home watching this, they'll understand from a movie called.
Right. Okay. You're breaking up a little bit still there.
Okay.
Say that. Try it again. Stay away from it. Don't get so close. Sometimes what it's doing, it cuts out. There you go. Try it from there.
This is
all right. Very good. Okay. Yeah. For some reason, you're cutting out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have you go away and come back. How's that? Okay, and we'll get you back, and that should correct your. So go ahead and come out. It's remember you got the link to come back. All right. So again, the costumes were something from the Wick Theater, and the Wick. They have a museum of costumes. Is that correct?
They do. Actually, they've got the Wick Theater Costume Museum on Federal Highway, and it actually was started. Really, Maryland started with the costume store first, which was Costume World Theatricals, and then bought the old Caldwell Theater and turned it into what we currently know as the Wick. And that's another, facility too. Eventually, as this builds and grows, that we'll be starting to kind of like try to push into and offering opportunities for the students to perform and things like that. A little bit further down the road. Like I said, it's like small steps, kind of like learning to do ballet. It's like baby steps.
Right.
But she owns a theater, and it's wonderful. In fact, right now they're doing lovely cabarets. Super COVID safe. Like they've got everything. They have wonderful protocols. In fact, I believe the mayor had even come and was so pleased with how they were handling things that he felt it should be a standard for some of the things to open up in the future.
Oh, that is super.
So definitely go. It's a really nice night out. Smaller crowds, of course, but
right.
Definitely, Wick Theater.
Wow, that's very good. So now we're going to get to the next, which is really. I got to get it off the, I have some backup. All right. I got it fixed. I know how to fix that now. Anyways, we're coming to the humorous part of the program, and it was just fantastic. And I'm really glad that I got it from the second night, because the second night just rocked. And tell us a little bit, Michael, about the idea here. Hopefully we've got this audio. I'll let you know if it's not working, but tell us a little bit about your concept for this 12 Days of Christmas.
The concept was really what a ridiculous idea the 12 Days of Christmas actually is. I mean, it's a traditional song. Everybody knows it. But have you ever actually thought about it? Like, what kind of sadist sends all this stuff to somebody that they're in love with? I mean, what the hell is going on in the song? The original idea was to literally have, 7 swans on stage and stuff, and then I like to think big at TaylorMade, but then reality bites. So we did end up scaling it down for logistics' sake, but you actually see how ridiculous the idea behind this piece is, and what this in my opinion is the greatest example of the creative collaboration that went on in this whole thing, because I wrote the song. Well, I didn't take the song. I wrote the dialogue and the concept. And then we worked on it with the actors and the actresses, and we built the singing into it and things. And we had this skeleton laid out, but it was a little flat. But then, as you said earlier, some of the participants, like Luanda and some of the other kids, they started adding ideas in, and it suddenly came alive. So what you see in this clip is genuinely the input of many, many different people. I got the words and the idea, but it came alive because of everybody's input. So it really is a great depiction of true collaboration.
Yeah, it is. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you. I found out what the problem is, so I'm going to be muting Angela, which is good because then I can control what she, whether I want to hear what she says. But I can still hear you. Yes. Oh, I can't let Michael do that because then that could be a permanent mute state. But anyways, wait. He's going to say something. There he is. Go ahead.
I am going to switch my phone. I've got to give Sam back her phone. So
okay, that sounds good. We'll be back then. All right, we'll see you in a bit. Okay. All right. So what I plan to do here is to show sort of the beginning part of it, and we'll watch it for a few minutes. And then I have the 12 days at the end, which just was absolutely amazing. It was an amazing moment where exactly what you said. I think after the second show, through all of the days, you got to remember these people practice it, right? 12 days. So they had to go through this song numerous times, and of course you're singing the same thing over and over and over and over again. But by the time they got to the point of the second show and the last 12, they're on 12 days of Christmas, and if I won't spoil it, but they're getting into a frame of mind which is not normal, and they were totally, into the part, and it just became magic. So what we're going to do is we're going to show the beginning of it, watch it for a little bit, then I'm going to stop it, and then we're going to show that last 12 days, because otherwise we'll sit here through all this. It's a longer piece, but I think people get the idea. So let's put that up there. I know Angela's back here, but I'll put her there to the stream. I'm going to unmute that, get this here. So let's take a look at, I'm going to put it down a little bit, and here we go, the 12 days of Christmas.
Preferably lots of gifts. Of course, some people take it a little too far.
Hysterical.
Yeah, the audio's live, so they have a mixture of people not on mics and mics.
Yeah. It was tough.
I'll turn it up a little bit. So I guess the premise here for people who are watching this is they're the 12 days of Christmas, and these carolers are delivering it to her, and then she's writing back to the person sending them, right? What she's receiving in her, very modern. I thought that was really cool, right? She's up there with her phone texting.
They really are pretty and make the most beautiful sounds. Not sure where I'm going to keep them, so for now they're going to stay in the pear tree with the partridge. Thank you again for the gifts, my love, but you really needn't go through this much trouble. LOL.
She really did a great job.
She's so good.
3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in the pear tree. Get that. Again with the birds. LOL. The hens are quite lovely. They really are. But honestly, what am I to do with them? The doves and partridge seem quite happy in the tree, but these things are too fat to fly, so they'll be staying in the garage for now. I'm so happy you're sending me all these beautiful things, but you really don't have to.
I mean, Michael, she didn't probably get this dialogue until pretty late, right?
That took a while. Yeah. She added a few bits
Right.
version was she worked with
Is there something I need to know about you and birds? The doves and partridge were all well and good, but the hens are making a terrible noise, and now 4 calling birds? Honey, I love you, but I have to sleep at some point, okay? I quite appreciate the time and effort you put into this, but I think we're good. I look forward to seeing you soon, and we can do something about these birds.
the interplay. I am or all the
Yeah, the interplay is quite amazing.
4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree.
Finally, some jewelry! They're so pretty, I love them, and 5 of them? I almost forgot about the birds! Thank you, sweetheart, you're back in my good books.
So 10 minutes 12.
On the 6th day of Christmas, my true love gave
See if I move this ahead a little bit.
8 maids a milking, 7 swans a swimming, 6
Yeah, I moved up ahead here.
5 golden rings, 4 calling birds, 3
You can see now they're starting to get a little bit agitated.
in a pear tree.
nobody wants to give it
Yeah.
away.
There's milk getting everywhere! No! So now we're on to cows. Are you mentally ill or something? Why on God's green earth would I desire this menagerie of insanity? 8 cows and their maids? The maids are milking like crazy, and the fridge is now overflowing with milk. The cows have eaten all of
Look at them in the back. They're just like, they're doing so well.
left of the grass. Maybe tomorrow you can send me 9 shovels for your graves.
Well, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to now people are getting the idea, and what I'm going to do is it's going to be a teaser because if you want to see it, we're going to have this available for people to watch, and that will be available later on online. But we're going to go to the last scene, so you can see the idea. She's getting really, really, really upset about this whole situation. It just gets worse and worse until, of course, we get to the final 12th day, and she is literally to the end. Now, you said you had 2 endings. I'm not going to give it away, but you actually had 2 endings, sort of, didn't you?
We had ideas, and we this was sort of very much done at the last minute. What finally happened, this was sort of a very late decision, I think. We couldn't quite figure out a way to end it appropriately, and this just honestly seemed like the best way to do it.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think what we'll do here. Let me make sure I get to the right place. I have it under the name. I can't even tell you what name I have it under. That would give something away here, but it was quite fun. I think this was really shows you the interplay of really how this group took on this whole story, embodied it, and just had fun with it, and was part really of the production. And this just was one of those magical moments. So let's take a look at this and add this to the stream here. Now this is just the last one. What I did too is I kept it. Luckily we had all cameras available to us. Well, we had the 2 side cameras. So what I did is you don't see necessarily all of it in the major one. So the overall mixed one, so I kept this camera. Well, you see the entire action to this one thing, which turned out quite fun. So here it is, the end of the 12 Days of Christmas. Here it comes. Let's get this going here.
On the 12th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 12 drummers drumming, 11 pipers piping, 10 lords a leaping, 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a milking, 7 swans a swimming, 6 geese a laying, 5
Look at their eyes.
golden rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree.
I tell you, that is so great. I mean, that's a moment that's going to be etched in Taylor lore. I'll tell you, that is so funny. I'm going to watch that again. I'm sorry, that's just pretty funny. Here we go. We're going to see this again.
12th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me. 12 drummers drumming, 11 pipers piping, 10 lords a leaping, 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a milking, 7 swans a swimming, 6 geese a laying, 5 golden rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree.
I tell you, you can hear the audience just cracking up. In fact, when I showed it to Luanda and her mom, they watched it about 5 times. And Luanda pointed out to me, "Oh, you've got to hear. We're laughing too." You can hear it on the mics that there was somebody supposed to be singing, and they just.
Oh yeah, it was a hot mess, but they covered it up well, and they did great. Like it was just so funny. I mean,
It
I think
was-
it goes to show up too, and you give them confidence.
Yeah,
They do.
yeah.
They do step up, don't they? I mean,
They do, and plus you got 2 hams in there. I mean, Emma and Luanda. Oh my God, that's just that's a mix for trouble in a good way. So I guess we have one more to look at. Oh wait, 12. Okay, yeah, we have one more which is near the finale. It's the what's it? Got the funny name. I forgot to write it down. The
Icarumba?
jingle. Yeah, but it's Jingle Jangle, whatever it's. What was that called? The
oh God, Sparkle Twinkly Jingly Joel. I could never say it right.
You said it right this time. So
This just became known as Sparkle Jolly, whatever the hell you call it.
that's what you guys said.
Swear words. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, okay. Well,
I forget
I'm
it all the time.
yeah. So, but it's pretty cool. I thought this was really nice.
Jolly, happy, twinkly. Oh, see, I still.
Well, anyways, we're going to take a look at it because it's pretty cool. So, yeah. So let's take a look at that. Let me get that up here.
Is there
And
a young men?
here we go.
Well, my work here is done. Time
Oh,
for me to head
nope,
back
nope.
to the
This is
North
a
Pole.
rumba.
Oh, this is different?
Well,
What's this one?
Icarumba.
Ay caramba. Oh, I was supposed to do the other one too. If you tell me where it's at, I can go to it. But let's watch Ay caramba then.
this was what you should know about David. This
You're-
was this is a song which has absolutely nothing to do with Christmas. But Angela had a concept which was tap dancing reindeer. That's actually literally where she began.
I've got her muted because that's the only way we can hear you. So go ahead.
So it's a concept that was looking for a song and did something with a bit of a Latin vibe to it. So she came up with this song. And I mean, the song itself has absolutely nothing to do with Christmas, but we made it work. And I think it's a great number.
Oh, it is. It is.
At this point, we just lost all control. This is just what the hell. Let's have dancing reindeers. Who gives a crap? It was.
It was amazing. It really was. But when you have a little, there's one thing about having a little bit of time. You don't overthink it. And I think a lot of times Broadway does that. They overthink, and it's just not possible when you have a little bit of time. You really gotta rely on your gut instincts, and I think that was one of the things about this. It just flowed so naturally, and it was an amazing way to end it, because let's face it, a Christmas show you can predict. I mean, one of the things my daughter and I do all the time is to watch films, and the better the film is when we can't predict it. But I'll be watching a film and I'll just know I said this is going to happen, and she'll say, "How do you know?" I said, "I've watched so many films. When the person gets handed this, they're going to die." And and people, when they see these shows, Christmas shows, you're going to go at the end, it's going to be silent night, and everybody's going to hold hands, kumbaya moment, whatever it is, and you guys go all Latin, and you even do samba backwards, which I've never seen, and I'm a samba expert. So I've got Angela muted again because I wanted to hear Michael's, because Angela, why don't you tell us a little bit about the concept there of, I'll unmute you there, of the dance in this.
My backward samba step.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe it. I told my wife there's samba in it, but it's going the wrong way.
Hey, we got to get clever, with our
Of
stuff.
Of course.
Well, yeah, actually, Michael's right with the whole reindeer sitch. But we were sitting in my office, and I loved this song, and one of my assistants had choreographed the beginning of it for our intensive. And when we were looking, I was like, I have to do it. And so Summer, who is the second reindeer in from the right, said, ha ha, why don't you make us like, I'm Dancer, I'm Prancer. And I went, that's it. Gosh. And she basically sealed her own fate at that point. And I was like, oh my, you are going to be dancing Latin reindeer. And Eliana actually is one of our dancers who's a really, 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 she's just so gifted. But she really shines in ballroom, and doing Latin,
Yeah, I saw that
movement. And she was really, really just coming off of a bad chest cold. It wasn't COVID, it was a chest cold, but she had asthma. So she was struggling. So when she'd finish, she would literally have to go do rescue breathing off.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, she's just a trooper.
Wow. Yeah, but I tell you, this is really wonderful, this whole thing. It's sort of the grand finale as well. We'll probably end it here anyways, because we've been on a little bit over an hour, but let's take a look at this. It's really worth it. And again, if you're wanting to see the whole show, it will be available online, and that will be on the website. And of course, just a reminder to everybody, if you're watching this, make sure you hit the like button and the subscribe button, because we're going to have more and more of these videos out there, and our Taylor Talks, because we got so many things coming through the tailor-made system, just amazing stuff coming up. So make sure you subscribe if you're watching on Facebook, like the page, because you'll be alerted when we go live like this, and you'll also be alerted when this will be available, this entire show. And there are 2 shows. We'll have them both available online for you to view. So let's take a look at this grand finale, Ay Caramba. It's quite fun, and let me make sure I get the stuff on here. Here we go.
Ha! Just on time. My ride's here. Aren't they cute? Wrong show?
We love our coffee.
Yes.
Sam Barnes. My goodness, you laugh.
Yes.
Living up there.
But they're just great dancers. Their whole thing is just, and I'm sure they learned this. They took 3 months to learn this, right? Yep. Nope.
Yeah,
it was
2 classes and things.
Yeah. People don't realize how aerobic this is. It's very aerobic.
I'm so tired too.
Well, I know.
We jam-packed like an act. These girls really dance every number.
Yes.
This is the one that's see from the full shot.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, they're so tired. You see, and they're little legs.
Yeah, but they did amazing.
Oh God, wonderful. This is only
I mean, it's their, I'm 61, so when you're that age, you got more energy. You do. Oh, some samba I saw there. Yeah, I'm just amazed at how much they learn in so short a time. It's just ridiculous. Yee! Summer. Boom, boop, boom, boop.
It's like my favorite spot.
Yeah. And beautiful movements. Yeah. Come rescue us. We are about to drop dead, so everybody come out now.
And everybody gets to learn that day before we went on.
Yeah. And then they get this part right, where they go down in the front and all the way up. Right here. Look at that. Alrighty.
It was such a good time.
Yeah, here comes the little kids.
Oh, little peanuts. It was funny. Someone actually was trying to find to take some pictures. When I sat down, looked at me. She goes, "What is this?" I went, "What do you mean?" She goes, "This isn't a recital. This is like a whole show."
It is. It was. And not only that, it was an original. I mean, you can't go away. There's some of the crowd in the.
Look at that dress.
Oh my gosh. Well, we'll have to talk about that dress. Isn't that a special dress?
No, that was the white one.
Oh, that was the white one, yeah.
That's Vita.
And there's some university people in there as well, right?
There's more alumni.
Connor.
So we're gonna start doing like an annual Christmas show where we invite all alumni.
Oh wait, there she is. Hello. And we're gonna stop it. Very good. You look great there. Come on. What are you talking about? It's like I looked at that and go, who's that?
Exactly. I don't think I knew who I was at that point either, so don't feel bad. I was like, people just kept turning me and saying go.
No, great look. My goodness. Look, you could have been in theater. Oh, well, you were in theater. But anyways, that was fantastic. I mean, I just have to say, as a parent who watched this, again, the emotions, you really can't capture it unless you were there. And just the feeling from the students and everyone. Again, people coming out of the university. I talked with almost every kid because I interviewed them. We do have those interviews. Go to our website, everybody. The Taylor, just look up TaylorMade, the website, and you can see there. We have some interviews with the kids. And, if you want Angela to cry, just have her watch those over and over. But it's really the feeling of these kids and what they I think we played that before. We had one of the interviews before the show live, and the emotions from these kids about being able to do these things and make this into really, I mean, this could turn into its own little musical, basically, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it really was fantastic. So, this is kind of in a concept of what you plan to do. I mean, I'd like to have you talk a little bit about your concept of, because Michael was talking, and before, while you were switching those phones, Michael was talking about this idea where you know recitals are one thing, right? But doing shows. He gave his thoughts on that. Tell us your thoughts on that. Whereas if a person comes to your studio and they're learning all the things that musical theater have to offer, whether they're in musical theater or not, or just part of that. What is the concept of that you have that when a student learns all these things, like my daughter, what are they going to do? Have a recital? What is your concept? It's a little different from the norm.
Yeah, well, part of it, the reason why it was developed like this is that I work in so many of the high schools, and I have for years. So I constantly see the battle that dance schools, or studios, or theater studios, voice studios, whatever, are having. Because to be quite honest, we really monopolize their time. Like, we just take over. And because of it, the kids really suffer because they're always torn between departments or between a studio versus their drama teacher or something. And I really wanted to try to find a solution for those people, and not saying, I'm not elitist in any way. I'm not gearing towards one group of people only, but I feel this is a group of people that don't really have a place to go. So that's why we based it off of that. And I feel like recitals are really wonderful, but a lot of students that we have come here, they have shows. They have shows that they want to audition for. They have shows that they're in high school, and they need the training more than they need the show. What we would rather do is train them so that they can be in other shows, but also throughout the year give them opportunities to perform with us on a professional level that they might not have had before. And it is completely up to them. Again, nothing is forced. Nothing is, you have to do this. Once they're committed to it, of course, yes. But no one is forced here. In that way, too, again, the student is making their choice as to how they want to train and move forward throughout their high school, throughout their high school years. And that's kind of why, I came from the idea of dance studio does a recital every year. I loved the recital. And I'm not saying we won't have things like that, but they would be more concerts or, an event for the family and smaller throughout the year. And again, where not everyone is required, that the students that are looking for performance experience, we offer it. I want it to be known for offering solutions to any kind of problem that people are having in the performing arts, whether it be strictly dance or if it's theater. Does that help?
That helps a lot. Yeah. I mean, my daughter, when she was little, they'd have classes. She'd take ballet and tap when she was in 4 and 5 and 6. And then they'd have their little recitals for Christmas and stuff. But it was really mostly you'd sit somewhere and they'd do one song and a class would do the song and then they'd go on. I think the other thing too that's really sort of unique in this is that you really have everybody involved. I think the difference between this show that you did now is that you had a full participation through they were involved in numerous numbers. Kids were involved, people who were not tens at dance and in the triple threats were with people who just started. And, that is not an easy mix to deal with, but you seem to be able to do that. And I think also in the classes, because when I remember my daughter, Luanda, she was in the leaps and turns, and she literally came crying to me saying, I can't be in this because everybody's so far ahead. And you guys said, no, no, no. And, she stuck it out. And now she's like doing double turns, and I go, wow. And it's one of her favorite classes. So I think, this whole idea, it's almost like, if you think about it way back before we had all this technology and stuff, people and performers all grew up together and families did this. And, kids were involved from the beginning and they were shoved out there. And yeah, they weren't the best dancers or the singers, but it's sort of like almost a family entertainment, almost like a circus or a traveling a group where you really get to know the people and provide, that kind of
I think that you're kind of hit the nail on the head, though. I think part of this that I'm realizing, because I'm constantly asking myself questions and trying to figure it out, because one of the things, I'm just a constant teacher, and I also want to pass along whatever it is I'm doing to other people so that it continues to kind of grow. But, oh my gosh, I just lost my train of thought. That is so bad.
No, that's okay.
It even happens when I'm live.
That's okay. You think faster than you can speak. That's what happens to me.
I do.
But right, yeah. You were saying that you were having a hard time coming up with the concept of what you were doing. So, sometimes it's hard to come up with what exactly is your mold, because I remember you telling me a story that was very poignant to you. And I thought it was, maybe I can help you a little bit here. But I remember you told me there was a student in a high school.
Yeah.
And you just
exactly.
a super talent. I mean, really a great talent, where you thought, oh, this person's going to go far. But then you saw where they were even a year after they left school, and you're thinking to yourself, what went wrong? And that seemed to be a big drive in your whole philosophy of teaching.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that throughout my life, it's always been the mistakes and the weird stuff that's made me question things that have kind of turned me into, I think, my ethos today, or like how I train and teach. Some of it developed, when I was younger. I kind of feel like every teacher I've ever had, I've always taken the good stuff that I've enjoyed and the things that maybe I would do differently and changed it up a little bit. But there was two specific things that happened, and the best way I can say it is this. For myself personally, and this is nothing against any of the places that I'm working with, it's more of kind of like where I was at in my life as well. But I have been brought into many of these departments to help bring a professional eye, I guess, to it, a contact for the students, whatever. And I came in and did exactly what we are taught in theater. You stay in your lane. You stay in your lane. And I was staying in my lane as choreographer and doing whatever I could and pitching in and whatnot. But one day, it was kind of like being in The Wizard of Oz, when Dorothy goes from black and white and all of a sudden it turns to color. We had something happen in one of our departments where I felt like a student was not. I thought she was used more than she was taken care of. Uh-huh. And I thought that the people that I was working with were doing the jobs just because I just assumed. I just assumed they knew. I didn't really stop to think about the fact that, some of these directors that they have in the high schools, it's a learning curve. They're learning how to do some of this. Not all of them have had a professional experience.
Right.
And I realized that there was a lot not being done for some of these students who were serious about this.
Right.
And I kept standing up on my soapbox, and I kept complaining a lot, and I kept saying how things were wrong, but it wasn't changing anything. And I think I realized at that point I had to start making solutions for people, or I had to get out of education.
Right. Now, one of the things that's really interesting is what we're going to be talking about in the next Taylor Talks, because we'll be wrapping up here. But it's really along in the concept. I went to, for those of you who don't know, again, we're watching Taylor Talks here, which is going to be more regular going on. We're getting through this. I'm dragging the Taylors kicking and screaming into the 21st century of social media live. And one of the great things is that you are going to be talking more to people to let them know about this philosophy, and you're going to be implementing it. I know my daughter is a sophomore, and one of the things I was asking, because I'm trying to stay ahead with her at least 2 years all the time, is like, she wants to go to college. Now, everybody does want to go, but she wants to go. And now, if you're going in that direction, what do you do? What happens today? What are the processes? Are you going to be left behind? Does a person have what they need? Because parents a lot of times don't know what to do, and I know the only thing I knew was I watched things online and YouTube, and there were kids that were in college, like my daughter would be from 4 or 5 or 6 years from now, and I was listening to them because there's nobody out there telling them what to do. And the only thing I heard in sophomore year is, if you're a sophomore, take dance, and take more dance.
Yeah.
But what about the rest of the process? How do you apply to schools? When do you do it? What do you have to know? What do you need to sing? What are they looking for? Because I think people oftentimes will prepare improperly, because what they're looking for, or how you are chosen, even knowing the rules, and you have a program that you are putting together that's much a bigger program for exactly this. Why don't you give us a little preview of, instead of too much, but an overall view of what you're planning. Because, and by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, we do have a talk by the David Clemens, right? And tell us a little bit about this program that really put together with you and him, and your whole idea of how to get to avoid what happened to this one person. And you were screaming, and now you have your own place to scream and your own place to dream, really.
Yeah,
Tell us about that.
Yeah, to create, viable solutions for people, for parents and for students. And again, these are things that have been like in my brain and processing for years. This is not just like a new thing that I've flipped a switch on. And it was really about how I just didn't want the schools that I was working at to be the only ones privy to my information. I really do believe that education should be even across the board. It's just how I believe. Everybody should have the same advantage. Everybody should get a Miss Angela in their life. Are they going to? I don't know, but I would certainly love it if they did. And because of these things, that is why I've started this program, or that we're going to be starting, which is a collegiate program, and kind of like an academy, if you want to say. I hate using that word because it's not like a full academy, but kind of like that. So basically, Clem and I are going to, Clem has a program that he is partners with 4 other people. It's called the CAP program, and it's something you can look up online. But it's a really wonderful way for college students to audition for, 60 schools at one time. And they're generally, what's so wonderful is they go from baby tiny schools you've never heard of to huge Ivy League schools. And one of the things that I noticed, by the way, back to Dave. Sorry. So Clem and I, what we're basically trying to do is bring the CAP aspect here, and also adding the training aspect, and kind of colliding them together so that they could technically start a student in 9th grade and start training with us all the way to senior year and be 100% prepared, locked down, and ready to go for college. The reason why I'm bringing Dave in, and the reason why David Clemens was so important to me, is that Dave comes with such a vast background in our business. And, I've told my students, hysterical. Dave has auditioned. I don't think I have a friend that hasn't auditioned for Dave in the city. He's just, everybody knows him from that. He's
It's
been on
crazy.
Broadway a couple of times. He's just
Yes.
an amazing human being. But what I love is that he's done multiple things, and what that means for us and our students is these are good connections to make, because as you go out in the world, you're trying to get into colleges. It's nice to know that the people you're going to school with know those people, and we know where to direct you in the times of when you're looking for something, and you're looking for the school that's going to fit for you. And so that's kind of what we're going to start. And we want to do a full talk on this, obviously, and
Right.
have Dave come on and talk with me, and we'll kind of take everybody through what we're going to do. But it will be a great program. But I'll tell you, college applications for musical theater
It's crazy.
it's crazy. And it's so hard, because I hate to be so dramatic about it, because I don't want to add any more stress to parents and students. But but to be honest with you, majority just don't know. They don't realize.
Yeah,
They think
yeah.
college, they think what we knew growing up,
Yeah.
how you get into college. And it's just not like that. It's full of ups and downs. It's not like an easy submission. You have videos you have to send in just to be asked to come. And those first pre-screens is a pre-screen. It's basically to say, are you even good enough for us to have you come and fully audition for us?
Yeah. No, it's
So
like,
they have to do that before they even get asked to come.
yeah. I mean, it's just like auditioning for a program, a
Only
production.
until it lasts a year.
Yeah, and it's over and over. And but I think the other thing that is really interesting is the 2 things I sort of learned on my own, because there wasn't something like this. So I was already out there ahead of time, and because I have an only child and I'm older, I'm a little bit more stable in my life. I found out a couple of things. One is colleges are like productions. They have places to fill. If they already have a short Irish funny person and they're of this persuasion or whatever, they're not going to look for us. They can find the most talented person out there is exactly that, but they already have one, sort of.
Yeah.
You're not going to be accepted, and you have to understand that. So a person may want to go to a school, but they may be the most talented person out there, but they're not going to be picked because it doesn't fit them. They don't fit their production.
Right.
But the other thing that's important thing I learned watching these videos. The other thing too is process, which you guys also we're going to be helping with. The other thing is expectations. And I think one of the problems is that when you go and the kids don't know what's happening sometimes. It's even like in Broadway. I've been watching all those things and I've been trying to talk to Luanda about these things too. It's like, okay, if you're in an audition and then they ask you to sing a country and western, sometimes they're not even caring whether you do good or bad at it. They just want to see if you're cooperative.
Yeah.
And, there's all kinds of things like that go on that are just, I think that are important. And these are the things that, how do kids know this? How do parents know this?
Honestly, too, what they find too is like every director, every choreographer is different. So, like you may go in and they start, and actually it's kind of funny because Clem mentioned this the other day in one of our college things. And this has actually happened multiple times. Like so many times to me, is that the choreographer, there's so many choreographers I know that literally by the time you even start dancing, they've already auditioned you. Like they've watched your warm up, stretch, whatever that is. They have watched you on stage, and by the time that they're already like, yeah, I like him, or no, might as well just.
Wow. Yeah.
And you have people like that, so it's like you just never know. So you have to really be prepared. And I do think it's like us sharing these stories is important because I also don't think that they're. I don't have any better words, but a freak of nature when they crumble under the pressure of it. It's a lot.
Yeah, and I think it's just a matter of getting him the right attitude to understand it's not you.
No.
And I think the other thing that was really interesting too, and one of the common things, because I watch things like YouTube channels that talk about auditions and things, just to get an idea, and having fun and just relax and just being out there and enjoying yourself and not worrying about it so much, because I think people worry that they're going to technically fail somewhere and that one slip is going to cause them to be
Oh yeah.
And it has nothing that just does.
Problem here. Actually, it's like fear of failure. Like I think it's so sad because it's like one of the things we work on. And I'll tell you just a quick story. A couple of years ago when we did our intensive, it was 2 weeks, and by day 4, I'd never seen anything like it. These kids were just, I don't know. It was kind of weird, to be honest with you. They were stiff. They weren't really into it. They weren't taking any chances. They just did not want to mess up. They were so scared of screwing up that it locked them in a box and they became completely unflyable. It was awful. And so I had Haitian folklore coming up this one Friday, and I had put it in there for a specific reason. It's to let go. It's not to be perfect. That's the whole point, is just to let go and to just respond and move. So we put this thing on and I am thinking, oh my God, like this is bad. So I brought them all upstairs before and I made them put their hands on the floor, and we were at the WIC rehearsal space and they're all staring at me and then they're like, what are you doing? And I said, you feel the floor? And they said, yes. I said, okay. I go, this floor right here. I said, do you know how many people have bled, cried, fallen, slipped, whatever it is? I said, this floor is for work. This floor is to make mistakes. If you don't make a mistake, you can never, ever, ever know how to correct it, especially when it comes to movement. So I made them all put their hands on the floor. I was literally like, make a gosh darn mistake. Make it big. Take control over it. This floor is yours. I said, and you don't need to be perfect. So in comes Haitian folklore. She brings the drummers in. Oh my God. Honestly, I'm not kidding you when I tell you, and Michael, my husband, got emotional about it. They were so free. This movement just broke everything. And Michael had been testing because he's a high school teacher, and he had been stuck in testing with them for like a month straight. And all he had seen was miserable kid after miserable kid after miserable kid. And he watched one kid after another be so free that it was moving. It was just so moving to see. So I think that's the teaching we're missing. We're missing teaching moments like that. We're missing the person, we're missing the kid, we're missing the human inside. We're forgetting that they're no different than us. We're just older and have more life experience. It's literally it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And it's just so important that they understand these things. I really think that.
Yeah, I see.
We actually still have video footage of that particular incident. We really should upload it somewhere, because you can watch the students going across the floor and you can see, considering what they've been through like 10 minutes earlier and what they finally become, where they loosened up and they just it helped that we had like live drummers and things like that. It was all very organic and quite primal. It was wonderful. But you could see the tension melting from these kids as they just let themselves go. That was a big moment for us, I think.
Yeah, it was. It's really funny because Luanda grew up with that. She played capoeira. In capoeira, you literally are in a dance fight. And so all you do is you go in there and you're given movements, but you are interacting live with the person. And if that person comes at you high, you got to go down low. It's a dance. And so it's just absolute freedom. And samba is the same way. It's a freestyle dance. A samba couple in Brazil never touch each other. But it's just this freestyle where you dance for the other person, and it's like jazz. And I think that one of the things is Luanda loves the Haitian dance. She's not been able to go to it because she has this other thing, but what she likes about it, I think, is just that freedom again, because she's used to having that. It's not natural. When she was little, I think that's the reason we would stand in the backyard of it. I didn't understand where that comes from.
Yeah, and it's definitely something that people really need to pay more attention to. But I think that's kind of like the whole theme of our school is that, and I hope as we grow, we can hold on to this, and that we are held accountable by our friends, right? That can keep us true to the path. But, is that everybody needs a place to come to feel really safe. And I'm not just talking about like the safety by, someone coming in and harming us, by a weapon.
Sure.
I just mean the safety of the soul, the safety of your mental health, being able to come in and try things without being made fun of. And I feel like in today's time, for us to get these kids here, I wish people understood how hard the work is, like how hard we work just for that aspect alone.
Right.
And it's tough. It's tough, but that's like what we want. We want a place that people truly feel like they can make mistakes, and like, I don't care. Like, I just keep walking. I'm like, I don't care that you made a mistake.
Right.
I'm like, you see me fall all the time, and sometimes too, like secret. But I've been known to like do things like that just so they don't feel like I'm perfect.
No, sure. That makes sense. And the other thing I noticed too, and it seems to permeate Boca High, at least that's the one I know West Boca, you've worked with them too, but definitely. Boca High, I mean, the group of kids are just fantastic. There just doesn't seem to be jealousy there. People are really talented, and I just hear people just cheering for each other, and just it just seems to be such a positive place. It's very rare, because you see all these shows where there's all you have is vengeance and jealousy and all that kind of stuff, and for these groups of kids it's it's quite amazing. So, but let's talk about. I think we're gonna go out here. Well, I want to thank first of all, I want to thank Mike. I'm going to take you out here, Mike. Thank you so much for sharing your stories with the Christmas show. Congratulations on it. It was just super fantastic. It will. I know we're going to be working on getting that available digitally for people to see, especially the people who are the parents and the people around the world. I will be doing that technically, and I'll be helping out with that. But so if you happen to see this and see some pictures or some scenes from that, we'll be able to see the whole thing that Michael put together, and of course Angela put together, and everybody else who participated. Thank you so much, Michael, for coming on and sharing your thoughts with the other half of Taylor's.
Thank you, honey.
Thank you, David. Thanks.
Okay, thank you so much. Now let's really quick before we go out. There are two things coming up. One, let's talk about the longer distance one, which is the Taylor intensives. Right, we're going to be you're going to be having those in the starting in June, right?
Yep. So our intensive, our musical theater intensive, is June 21st through 27th. And we are going to do the showcase this year at the WIC. We do have a tendency, though, just for people to understand what we do for the showcase. It's very stripped down. It's just them in blacks with minimal lights. And the reason that we do that is so that parents and students aren't bamboozled by lights and costumes. I really do want them to see their progress. Because this is an intensive. It's not, meant to be a show. But the intensive is wonderful. We're actually going to be studying 3 different choreographer directors.
Wow.
We work on material, vocal material, monologues. So basically when the student shows up, the first thing that they get is personally selected monologues, contrasting monologues, and a personally selected song that they work on throughout the intensive. So that they have something for their books. And then we do a lot of dancing. They take ballet class, contemporary. They take all different kinds of classes. And the reason we do that is so they can kind of have a tester of different styles, different techniques, and where they might need to work on. Like I always say to the kids, it's a wonderful time to kind of see where you are and start making plans for, your upcoming year as to what you want to study.
Right.
Because it's good to see where you're struggling, where you're flying high. And we don't just do, and I feel like this is something so important, but we are not just demonstrators. Okay. There are so many.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, there's different stuff out there, and again, it's nothing necessarily wrong. It's just not what we do.
Yeah, but I'm going to step in a little bit just because I can, because I'm not in the community, so I can say a little bit more than what I think. Unfortunately, I will tell you, there's some ego sometimes involved, and it's really hard to find, because there's great people everywhere. Yeah. But sometimes what people want to do is just they want to go there and just sort of pontificate about their, and it feels great to tell the stories, and people have all these stories to tell. But it's another thing to be that same person, but to really care about the student, and that's not really why you're here. You're really here to try to get each of the students to another level, or to even think about something. So I know what you're saying, but those stories and stuff, that's ego in my opinion. But
yeah.
And that doesn't happen. My daughter went through it last year, but this year's it sounds even more intense in a good way.
Yeah, it's gonna be so great, and I think that we really one of my students coined it really well, because I'm always asking them
right
different things, and Neela said to me, she goes, Miss Angela, anyone can teach you how to do steps. She's like, but you teach everybody why.
Yes. That's the whole thing about teaching. If you tell a kid why, my daughter came home and says, oh, Dad, I've got this, blah, blah, blah. And she's describing the physiology of her leg. And I go, I don't know what you just said. And there's a whole difference between understanding that you're hurt and put ice on it than to understand even the physiology of your leg. That's kind of a microcosm of what Taylor does for a kid, right? it's not, it's like, we're going to teach you all the stuff, but we're going to, all the techniques and all that, and you have all that going and you can practice whatever. We're going to teach you the whys, right? And the how, also the practical how. So,
yeah, the how. I think
Yeah.
knowledge is power.
yeah.
And I think that it's what I always felt when I felt insecure in the business. It always came down to not knowing something.
Right.
Always.
Right. And so we have the summer intensives. This is on your
Yep,
webpage.
Summer intensive. It's going to be
And-
wonderful.
And then we also have the free college workshop, which we already have. That's online. People can watch that, right?
Yeah, we're actually going to do another one in June.
Oh, cool.
So,
Very
keep
good.
an eye out. We're doing another one in June.
All right.
And also the Day of Dance tomorrow, which is, or not tomorrow, sorry, Saturday. This
Right.
Saturday, the
Right,
10th,
Day of
which we're
Dance.
Excited about. Just
Right.
Make sure that they register online, because the one thing is
Exactly.
people aren't registering online, and I'm a little worried they're just going to show up. And we have to be careful of COVID with numbers.
Right. Right.
So
You can see there it says Taylor Made Dance and Theater with it re.com, and that's what you're looking here on the screen here. And right, if you go from the top down to the middle here, it's a very good announcement board. You have the 3 things to register for: the day of the dance, you have the summer intensive, and you have the free workshop, which I think already happened. But stay tuned for the next one.
I'll be updating it.
Right, but for right now, concentrate on the day of the dance. And how much does it cost for the day of the dance?
It is $20 for the whole day.
For the whole
1:30 to 6:30.
day? Mostly it's $20 for like 10 minutes on the average lesson, right?
Exactly. This is a real
So
good one.
This is like from 1:30 to 6:30. That's like 5 hours. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that
It's
is
gonna
so
be
great.
So good. It's gonna
That's
be
so great.
Yep.
So great.
And I've got some merchandise we're gonna sell, and
Right?
have really fun stuff going on. Some balloons. Woo.
Yeah. So, anyways, I want to thank you so much. We're
Thank
gonna,
you.
we're getting new. We know we're new at this, folks, here at Taylor, but we're getting used to this. A new. And remember, everybody, including you, Angela, you got to tell people subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our
Subscribe to our
face.
YouTube channel. Wait, don't you have to point or something?
Yeah, you have to
Right
point down there, right down
There
there, or hit like, because we're broadcasting live to 2 things right now, which is Facebook Live and YouTube Live. So we're going to go out here, Angela, on our Taylor Talks subscribe thingy. So thank you so much, and we're going to get ourselves on our way out. Thank you.
All right,
Thank
sounds
you.
Good.
Okay.
Good seeing you. Bye.
Bye bye.
Subscribe now.
That's right. In fact, here's why. Here's a video for you to subscribe. All right, everybody, stay loving, stay living, and stay dancing. And I'm Dave Hilser, your host of Taylor Talks, and we'll be back in a week or 2 with more. But remember, Day of the Dance coming up this Saturday. Just go to tailormadedanceandtheater.com. That's theater with an re.com, and you can register there. It's only $20 for 5 hours of amazement, and plus you're going to be with some people that are just incredible. So thank you so much, and we'll see you later.